Hi, y'all.
Hi, y'all. Is it working?
Testing. Oh, yeah, it's working.
Okay, so we've narrowed down the issue to a bad USB port or cord, something to do with the USB.
Yeah.
So that's what this episode's going to be about: is USB ports. Probably not. Okay, how you doing?
I'm a
Feeling
little,
all right?
little under the weather, as you can maybe see.
Yeah, you look a little in pain.
Yeah.
You're a little in pain.
Yeah, in some pain, but this is such an important topic, and we're in Christmas week, so um, thankfully, hubby was able to move our little studio upstairs. And so here we are.
Yeah, there's a Christmas tree.
There's a Christmas tree behind us.
Yeah, we didn't think it out. It was a good idea, and then we put it together. And we're a little cramped.
Now we're cramped with the Christmas tree.
Not enough room this way. But we'll figure it out. Yeah, I'm congested as usual. So it's the heater. Fall asleep with the heater on, and I get baked, and it's not good. But it's okay. The show should still be pretty good.
Yes. So,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yay. Yeah, we missed last week. Had to do a rerun, which stinks because the whole month was kind of planned. But so I'm just gonna have to squeeze some things together into this one, which is fine. It'll just be a really Christmassy episode. Yeah. And work's been crazy. So it's been crazy. It's been really, really crazy.
Yes.
Like record-breaking crazy. Probably for the entire shipping industry. Apparently they've never seen anything like it. And there's a hub in Houston, and they were telling me that it's just millions of packages just on the floor in piles. And they're sending people from different areas to go try to get them delivered. Because nobody's shopping anymore, and we're not prepared to ship everything for everybody all at one time, and it's a mess.
So hubby's been busy.
Yeah, I'm working really long days, but it's all right. It's an easy job. I like it. So, how have you been? How's your December? Your pain.
Well, so for those of you who don't know, I've had multiple ovarian cyst ruptures over the past couple of months, and I think it kind of came to a head this past week.
Like yesterday.
Yeah, so, Friday and yesterday were pretty bad days. So that's okay, because I feel like we're at the end of this cyst season. So I almost went a whole year without one. I'm prone to them, and so we celebrate that still. I celebrate that still, that I went almost a whole year without an ovarian cyst. Still lots to celebrate. So we'll get through this season, and then hopefully I can go another long span without them.
Yeah, if we could behave and not eat terribly, that tends to make a difference.
It does.
It's hard. Texas is hard.
It's hard, Louise.
It's so hard.
Oh gosh, it's
Everything
so hard.
tastes good. Like the walls taste good. The dirt tastes good. In Portland, everything tastes like green cardboard with hummus.
I was literally on a potato diet in Portland.
Yeah, nothing but potato.
And
pure potato.
That's when I got a lot of my health issues balanced out, and I lost a lot of weight. Obviously, if you're on a potato diet.
Yeah, I've had a tooth pulled since we've been back to Texas.
Yeah.
That's how. Yeah, everything's made out of sugar. It's Willy Wonka's Candyland. It's been bad.
Yeah, it totally is our Willy Wonka's.
It's like the hedonism and moral corruption of the Northwest was a piece of cake compared to dessert in Texas. So that's been our hurdle.
I guess it depends on where you're what's the word I'm looking for? Where your weaknesses are.
Yeah.
our weakness is more food than
Yeah.
staying morally on track.
I know, it's a piece of cake. It's a cake. Oh, man.
Oh, cake.
Okay, so anyway,
Pun intended.
Christmas. So, get this, obviously the titles, if you could see it, The Reality of Christmas. That's a pun. What I mean is Christmas as reality. Christmas is reality. And it's a little little image of reality. And I think I mentioned that last time or a few times now. I think last year we talked about that with our Christmas tree episode. And so this episode, I'm going to kind of condense all those things. And from last week, what I was going to talk about, just to help people get what things are, what they're doing, Sometimes we don't know what we're doing, we just do it. And, sorry, this is really bad today. Sorry.
I don't have any water up here.
We need a cough button. Do we not have? Oh, we have to click it, huh? Oh,
Yeah.
well. Anyways, yeah, I may have to get water at some point, but we'll worry about that. So, it was funny when I was thinking of like how to kind of start this episode off. I'm thinking of a lot of times I'm trying to talk about symbols, not in like a weird symbology thing, like like the Freemasons, they'll use symbols and it's like a code language. That's not what I mean. That's kind of a manipulation of symbols themselves. But symbols more as like letters in an alphabet, in a way. Like the letters themselves. If you write the word cat or bat, you use similar letters, but they mean different things. Obviously, the letters are just kind of tools. And so if we can kind of pull out of our day-to-day lives and see things, see the world as principalities. If you like, there's everything almost has a principality. It's kind of like a Miyazaki movie, or like if you've ever seen Spirited Away or one of those Japanese cartoons. Everything is symbolic. Everything has a personality. A radish has a personality. Like literally, there's a radish spirit. That might freak some people out, but in a way, it is. It's like you can say a jalapeno has a personality. It's like if you've grown up eating peppers, it's not the same as a carrot. You act differently around a carrot. A carrot and a chili pepper have different personalities, and you should be able to just intuit what that means.
I'm going to check and make sure we're still live, because I don't know if you saw that little notice came in through saying our studio had
great
disconnected but reconnected, so I'm just going to make sure it's reconnected.
I don't know either.
Oh, we're live. We're live again. Woohoo!
The internet should be working. Okay, then I guess we'll have a real quick 29-minute show.
Oh no! So we disconnected. Our stream disconnected. Something was going on with the studio setup. So.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this one holds. Just don't move. We're gonna talk like really slow. Okay, so anyway, I don't know how long I was talking without anybody watching, but I'll just recap. So, so basically I was talking about when I was thinking about how to kind of break into this episode and, what I can use to just kind of help people, get in the frame of mind to think about something that's so symbolic as Christmas and its traditions, right? What came to mind was a four-way stoplight. And, if you've ever driven at like 3 or 4 in the morning, you come up to a stoplight and there's nobody around, right? It's just you. Are we still on? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just double checking.
It's just you and the road, right? Well, a lot of the criticisms of Christmas is that the traditions are pagan, so it's like a lie, and so you're celebrating a lie, you're obeying a lie or something like that. There's that side of it, and then there's the other side of it where people are obsessed with Christmas and they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what things are all about. They just like the pretty things, which is fine. Both are fine because they're both right. There are a lot of pagan. A lot of it does come from pagan origin, from Druids or whatever. Okay, so how do we, reconcile that with the truth in Christianity and all these all these things that, we want the best, we don't want to be, caught lying, failing or something. Well, so what came to mind was like a traffic stop, a four-way traffic light. You pull up, and we all know the point of a traffic light. It's to stop people from dying. It's a symbol. You come up and there's just a stick with a red light or a green light, and it tells you something. It's communicating to you to stop because you're going to get hit if you don't. Well, if you're in front of that sign at 3 in the morning and you're the only one on the road for miles in all directions, the sign is lying to you, right? You're not going to get hit, but it's still red. It's still telling you if you pass, you're going to die. So because that symbol is false in that moment, should we get rid of the whole idea, right? The whole idea of traffic signs because it lies to me at 3 in the morning, right? Or again, the opposite. Should we put, stoplights everywhere, every single intersection because, well, they save lives, obviously. So every single intersection needs a traffic light. Well, you got to have balance in that. You got to understand why it's there and the fact that the traffic light is there because of a principality, right? It's how a city communicates to you through symbols, through items, through inanimate objects. Basically, the town, the principality of your city is talking to you, is communicating to you. It's actually answering a prayer to build a four-way stop sign, a prayer to the angel of the city, right? You can think of it that way, to the principality, the personality of the city, the head of the city. So what's funny is as I was thinking of that, I realized that four-way traffic light stops are Christmas. It's Christmas. It's and this is how you can think symbolically, right? So, we all come together in the center under red and green lights, right? Which is interesting. It's red and green lights. It's the colors of Christmas, and we all come together. And it's for love of one another that we do that. If we didn't, there'd be no lights. We'd all just be, third world country, people getting hit left and right. So we come up with this system, and I just thought it was funny symbolically that, it's like we all commune together. And on top of that, you add the horns. There's trumpets playing. It's kind of upside down, right? Usually out of anger. But you come together, people all from all four directions. We face each other. There's the lights up above, green and red. I was like, oh, hey, it's Christmas right there.
Aww.
Anyway, so I only use that to kind of lead into a Christmas stocking, obviously, because you got Christmas or traffic lights and a stocking. Obviously, those are connected, right? Well, obviously not, but they are, in that they're symbols of something. It's a symbol of how you operate in life. And this was I have even less time now. I missed last week. Now I have less time to try to cram these things together, so I might be going faster than usual. But so a stocking is a sock, right? It's a sock. You hang them over the fireplace and you put things in them. And it's like, what does that mean? Well, to see it, the deeper meaning of it, the symbol of it. The sock is, it's the bottom rung of our clothing. It's literally, metaphysically and in reality, it's the bottom. It's where you come in contact with the earth, is your sock, the bottom of your sock, right? Well, traditionally, St. Nicholas, he would put like an orange or this gold ball at the bottom of a sock. And so it's at the deepest, darkest bottom pit of reality. That's where you find this golden ball, right? That's kind of that's the image of reality. That's our lives. And it's why it's reflective of the season, right? And coincidentally or not, today is the winter solstice. It's the darkest time of the year, physically, and it also feels like it's the darkest time of the year, for all of us. It feels like it. Just if you look back at the whole year, how much darker can it get? Well, it can always get darker for one, but it's objectively, well, I shouldn't say objective. It's symbolically the darkest time of the year for almost everybody.
Mm.
Things are really bad out there. It feels like it's the darkest time of any time measurement you can kind of come up with. It's the darkest time of the decade. It's the darkest time of the century. At least it feels that way. It feels like things can go so bad so quick because we're so united globally these days that a world war now is so much worse than before. It's literally the whole world because we're so connected. So we're at this point where we're at the bottom of this kind of metaphysical reality right now. Everything is at its darkest. And we've heard so many stories of just absolute tragedy. It seems like this year is it's on overdrive. Bad things are on overdrive. Yeah. And here we are. The darkest day of the year. We're at the bottom. And what's interesting at the same time, and this doesn't happen every year, but at the same time, we look up in the sky, and it just so happens that the Bethlehem star has returned. At least that's what the astronomers are saying. That's what the Magi are saying, right? Just go on to any astrological website, and every article is about Jupiter catching up to and eclipsing Saturn. And if you understand what those two planets symbolize in other cults or religions or practices, it's very symbolic.
Yes.
Jupiter itself is tied closely with Melchizedek, who was the priest king. It was the highest priest you can get. It's like the Pope, right? But he was also the highest king you can get. It was like, king of the world kind of person. And so even biblically, when it says, the Messiah will return in the manner of Melchizedek, it's a king priest. It's the two worlds united, the two opposites. The separation church and state thing. In Melchizedek, that was united. He was one. And it's interesting that, Jupiter is now eclipsing Saturn, which has traditionally been a symbol of Satan, not just because they sound alike, it's just the truth. Of Moloch, Saturn is the star, the principality, the angel, the fallen angel of Moloch, the god of child sacrifice, and is now being eclipsed by Melchizedek, the righteous king priest, which is happening on the darkest time of the year, of the day, of the hour, of the century, of
almost the worst year for most people.
For a lot of people that we know, it's probably the worst time of their entire lives that we've heard of. And it's some really sad stories going on out there. I mean, the whole year's been like that for a lot of people.
Yes.
But once you've hit the bottom, that's where you find the golden ball, right? And all that deep, that kind of turn from dark to light. Darker, you can only get to light by going darker. That kind of process where there's an orange at the bottom of a sock. Well, we're there today. We're at the bottom, and so we should expect a golden ball. And that's what the stocking kind of can symbolize. It's a reminder that this is what happens, that this is an image of reality, and that's what a Christmas tree is. Christmas tree in itself is reality. It's if you take a tree, a tree comes out of a forest, and traditionally a forest is an image of exile. It's like the desert or the ocean. All these places where it's pure chaos and you generally go there to die. But at the same time, it's pure potential. There's so much you can do with the forest. There's a lot you can do in a desert and in the ocean. It's where our fish come from. And in fact, that symbol of the fish in Christian terms is exactly what that means. It's you reach into chaos and you pull out this shining thing, right? This shining thing of life that gives life and is alive. It's all symbolic. It's obviously we know a fish isn't magic, but then again, of course, it's magic. This is all, you can call it magic just if you don't understand what Holy Spirit and miracles are. we can cleanse the word magic,
Yes.
just like we did with whatever pagan druid thing, chopping down a tree and bringing it in. The Yule log, whatever you want to pick. Actually, I don't think Yule log was the same, but anyway. So if you just look at the tree, the structure, right? Why do we use a Christmas tree? These type of pines, this conical shaped tree, as opposed to, whatever type of standard tree where it's a stick from the ground that kind of bushes out up on top. That's what we all think of a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we use this shaped tree because it has a point.
Yes.
Literally, not just there's a point to it. It has a point.
It has a point.
It's shaped like a pyramid, right? It's shaped like a triangle with a wide base. The circumference is larger around the bottom, all the way to one. It's like infinite to one, if you will. It's all chaos possibility, all the way up to one thing, to one point. It's particularity out of potentiality, and that's how we encounter the world. That's what our vision does.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at something, it's all chaos around the edges. Our vision is shaped like a Christmas tree. It's blurred around the edges, and then it's fine point in the middle. That's how our mind works. That's how our concentration works. It's how God works. Basically, He pulls potential, or he pulls particularity out of potential. So, that's what the Word does. The creative Word. It's what Christ does. He's what makes things out of chaos, out of the the Book of Job talks about it as like the Leviathan. This kind of feminine chaos in the ocean. It's chaos within chaos. It could be anything. You don't even know what it looks like. You just know it's massive and scary. Well, with the Christmas tree, so what do we do with the tree? We put lights in it, we put ornaments, and we put a light at the top, and then we wrap this spiral around it, usually some sort of tinsel, some sort of ribbon. And you can think of that as the serpent. You can think of that as the periphery itself, as the outside spokes of a wheel that wrap all the way up to the center. And as an image of life, the presence, the chaos, the gifts and the curses are hidden throughout that journey. So traditionally, these days, there's no coal anymore. I think you'd probably get thrown in jail for a hate crime if you gave your child a piece of coal. I think they'd behead you. I think that's in the law these days. If you disappoint your child, you go to jail. That's just how it is. So don't do it. But traditionally, there were, even with the stocking, it could be this golden ball or a lump of coal. And in the tree, the little gifts were hidden throughout the tree, traditionally, just like with the ornaments. And as you go up from, chaos, that's our life. It's fractal. You can think of it as, that's how your day is. You start your day out and then you end it back home. It's how everything is. It's an image of reality. And as you go through that, you encounter amazing things, right? Like a marriage, or lumps of coal, like people prior to our marriage.
or it could be somebody's marriage.
Somebody's marriage. Yeah. I mean, that's
Just
life.
kidding.
Yeah, that happens. But if we get married in a fallen state, in a blinded, if you're seeking these things because you feel like you're lacking and you need a spouse in order to be fulfilled, it's not going to end well.
Yeah.
Because you should be fulfilled with God and not a person, not a thing, not anything.
Yeah.
And it'll always lack. If you fill that God-shaped hole with anything God created, there's an end to it, and that's the problem. And it's not eternal. Well, just like with the tree, if you stop at any ornament, if you stop at any chunk of coal, you'll never reach the top. You'll never be whole. It's the interesting thing with the coal and the gifts that, I'm thinking about this even just symbolically. The gift is obviously something really good for you. It's you're glad you found it, right? It's something that brings joy, something you needed, something beautiful, whatever. And so it's something that kind of nourishes you. Whereas when you come across coal, I mean, well, coal is what you burn, right? Coal goes into the fire, just like the chaff. And in particular, coal heats everybody else, And, so even then, there's a way you can flip this idea of getting coal in your life to good. You can use your bad situation, the coal that you got in life, that bitter cup, to radiate warmth to other people. And we've talked about this all the time. It's, for a while we had our priorities out of whack. God wasn't at the top. Whatever was at the top for us at one point in time, it was having a kid, that was filling the God-shaped hole. Well, you're going to get a lump of coal when you do that every time.
Yeah. Even if during that time we had our child, gotten our child, it would have inevitably been our coal. It wouldn't have fulfilled us.
Right. We would have taken it the wrong way. We would have ended, we would have basically said, God answered our prayers. We're done with God now. It's the same when you, like I mentioned, you pray to the head of your city, the principality of your city, because there's potholes. So you write letters, you make calls, you write letters, you make calls. Only the potholes get filled, and then you're done. You stop there, right? Which is fine for a city. That's the level of principality all the way up to eternal creator of everything, right? It's really low, it's particularly some cities. But when you pray to God and you get your big gift, well, if that gift is at the top, then you're going to stop. You're going to stop. And life will continue to be incomplete once the present wears out or disobeys you or moves away or something, you're still not fulfilled. But, like we said, if you get that lump of coal, well, you give of yourself and you warm the people around you with that coal. And so it's like, well, okay, we don't have a kid. That's fine. It's fine. That could be a blessing. It could be a mercy to not be given the thing that you keep asking for. So, we have big plans, and it's God's will. Whatever happens, happens. But it's like, well, in that case, what we could do, we can grow our company. We can foster. We can warm the lives of more than one kid now. We can do much bigger things with our coal.
The thought of that warms my heart.
like coal, right? So that's how that can work out, and that's why even in the tree, when it's turned to Christ, when it's taken from the chaos of paganism or occultism or whatever, druidism, it can be turned to light. And as we go up the tree, we encounter, the very top. And whether it's an angel, a star, a candle, the word, it's all the same thing. The word for, I think, king, angel, and star, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so you're the head. You're the head of a principality. You're the head of a body. And that's what star is. That's why the stars have personalities. That's why Melchizedek is eclipsing Satan right now. And what science tells us today is, well, no, there's just gravity and things spin and that planet's in front of that planet from where we are in infinite nonsense and blah, blah, blah. No. That has no meaning to us. What has meaning to us is Melchizedek, the righteous priest king, is eclipsing Satan right now.
Yes.
And it's the light in the sky that you find at the darkest point. When you've climbed to the mountain, and keep in mind the Christmas tree is shaped like a mountain, and it's fractal. So if you look at, a pine-covered mountain, it looks like a Christmas tree. And you get boulders and stuff, light points, snow or whatever. It looks like a Christmas tree. You zoom in on it, you get one tree. It's the same thing. It's the same shape. And you zoom in on the tree and you get one branch. We pull off one branch. That looks like a little Christmas tree. It's a little cone with a bunch of other little ones. And you can it's fractal, just like us, just like our days, weeks, months, years. It's all the same cycle. Well, that should bring us hope, because just like the tree, when you get to the top, that's where the light is, right? And so that's as a Christian, I have faith that that's going to happen. It has to happen. Aside from us just being promised by the creator of the universe himself, it's a pattern. This is a pattern. It's something to expect. It's when things get darkest, the light comes. Well, so that leads us to the top of the tree, right? This light at the top of the tree. Well, so the star you put on the top of the tree is the exact same thing as the nativity, right? You can see it almost like if the nativity scene were lighted up to where you can't make out, there's no contrast, it's too bright, and well, if you zoom in on that, you put your sunglasses on, you're going to see the birth of Christ. That's what that image is. And if we remember the story of that, King Herod is killing all the babies. He's killing all the firstborn, right? Because he was warned that the King of the Jews is coming, and it's going to change the world. It's going to unite the world. He doesn't want that. He's king. He's king. He's Satan. That's what Satan says too. I'm king. Well, it didn't work. But you can see that the time of Herod killing all the children, I mean, how much darker can something get, metaphorically? How much dark? Well, I mean, are there any parallels to that today of a mass slaughter of children? I mean, can you think of anything? Is that happening at all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Child trafficking is happening.
Well, I mean, if you ever heard this, this word abortion.
Right? Oh, abortion.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, has there ever been a time when it's been put into law like this, where it's been so casual?
And that's interesting to think about because it is normally a woman's first child.
Yes, it's your firstborn.
It's
usually.
Normally their firstborn, yeah.
Every now and then it's you have 4 kids and you just decide, well, I don't need a 5th one. I'm gonna skip this one, by killing them. And well, that's aside from it just being physically impossible to do at this scale, prior to now, thanks to science, we can do this at such a dramatic scale. This killing of our firstborn, so flippantly, it's encouraged. There's people putting out videos of their first abortion with pride. It's my right.
Breaks my heart.
Because it's not a kid, it's a fetus, and we all know, as college teaches us, fetuses. As we all know, a fetus is a parasite. Right? That's what you're taught in college. That's science. A fetus is a parasite. Then again, if you think about it, the idea of a fetus is pretty new. Before modern science, a baby was a baby. So the idea of a fetus it's really new. It's a new idea that a baby and a fetus are different things. So I say we kind of just scrap that. We tried it. It was new for a while. I think we should go back to the more logical
Yes,
way.
Absolutely.
But if you start seeing it that way, we are in King Herod's time. And there are people that are pushing the idea of abortion. It's most of the time, it wasn't all these women's idea. They've been manipulated, a lot of them. And, they carry the sin either way. But this comes from a top down, and people don't realize it. This idea that, that for the state to push this idea, that comes from a principality. It comes from a very dark personality / principality. And we are back in the time of Herod. And as the slaughter of children is reaching its peak, just like in Herod's day, when the star was in the sky, guiding, the Persian magi / astronomers / philosophers, depending on the tradition, to the birth of the Savior. We're there again. It's now. And these times are coming to an end. And that's what Christmas reminds us of. And if you look at the Nativity, that's what happened. And there's a reason, traditionally, you have all these images of the Nativity, which is just another image of reality. You have the ass and the ox. We are asses. We are the asses. We are the Gentiles. And the ox was the Jews. It was the Israelites. It was the religion of them that knew the true God, the true living God, not a sub-God, not a God created by a God. So that's why, traditionally you didn't mix. You didn't yoke an ass and an ox. You couldn't eat the meat of a donkey. It was unclean, whereas you could with an ox. It was clean. In the Nativity, traditionally the ass and the ox are on both sides of the manger. When a manger, the word manger is eat in French, it's manger. Well, if the ass and the ox eat together, they're in communion together around Christ. And Christ is what binds us together. The whole world. You're one or the other. And so there's that image. And then you have, you have Christ obviously in the center of reality. That which created reality returns to reality. That's what's the idea of Christmas. That's the idea of Christianity, is that the creator of reality comes to us and saves us from our death, which is why traditionally he's actually in a cave, not a stable. It's nowhere in the Bible that he was born in a stable. Traditionally it's a cave. The reason the idea of a stable came along is because of the ass and the ox. So you think, oh, farm animals, but that's not why. It's a symbol of the outside and the inside, the center and the periphery, and the center being the ox and the outside being the ass. And together they are the whole, that Christ unites the inside and the outside, and all is saved. Every knee bows, every tongue confesses, not just a select few, not just one denomination. It's every knee will bend. Well, if you move, even in that scene of the Nativity, you move out, and I'll try to do this quick because our time's already up. You have the image of Joseph, doubting. He's sitting contemplating, and there's often an image of like a demon or Satan kind of whispering to him. Because in his head, he's asking, how is this possible? This isn't my child. This Mary, the virgin birth. How he's doubting. How is this happening? How is something coming from nothing? And that's the question of the ages. That's the question science asks. How are we all here? How does something come from nothing? How does the Big Bang happen? If there's something already there, where did that come from? And science will say, well, from nothing. It has to happen. Christianity figured this out hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years ago, that there's this question of where do we come from? Is this all possible? And a very common theme, a strange theme happening today is that this is all some sort of, what are they called? What do they call it? Simulation. In fact, I think it's called simulation theory, which just begs the question. It's like, okay, if this is all a simulation and we snap out of it, well, then who made that reality? It just keeps going. It's the same thing. It's how does something come from nothing? Well, there's Joseph in that image. You have the angels up top, and the traditional image of the Nativity is it's a cave within a mountain, right? And so we're back at the mountain. We're back at the Christmas tree. And all around it is these dark and light. There's angels above and angels below. And in the center is Christ being born, the Savior, our Savior to rescue us from our death. Okay, 12:01. And so I was able to spit all that out. Left very little time for any interaction, so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm probably not.
Technical issues.
I'm probably not very good to talk to
right
now. But I do want to give a shout out to my husband because I was super sad about not decorating much or getting a Christmas tree up. And he so lovingly went and did all of that yesterday and even decorated it.
Well, now it's our new tradition. This is the second year it's happened accidentally, which is how most traditions start. And, speaking of that, even like bringing the tree in, there were like a million different pagan traditions. We picked the one that made sense, right? It's not just pagan. It makes sense. And same for this, the tree is way, way more affordable. We keep it a little bit longer. And it's something that we look forward to because it's, the tree is kind of generally people's favorite part.
Yeah.
And so it's that kind of anticipation, it's the delayed gratification where the center shows up at the right time.
Yeah, right
And
before.
so, yeah, and it happened to be the day before the solstice, the day before the darkest time of the year.
Yeah.
That's when we put the tree up, put the lights on, ornaments and all that.
Yeah.
And so we decided that's just going to be our personal family tradition,
New tradition.
is the late Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Everybody else is already up. We're the last ones.
And that happened last
Yeah.
year too.
And it's funny because it's fractal, because we of the stones that everybody refused, right? There's everywhere I went, there's 10 trees left, and they're all kind of falling apart. But every time there's one really good tree that just got missed, and it becomes our center of the season, right before the darkest day of the year. And so it's, considering how we do this and we talk about it all the time, it's just fitting that that's our tradition from now on.
Yeah. I love it.
Anyway,
Well, I guess we should head on
we gotta
out.
run.
You guys have a Merry Christmas. We're praying for y'all. We love y'all, and we're looking forward to the show next year.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great. So
Yeah, and keep in mind, you how to put this. So keep in mind what's at the top of your tree, right? What did you put at the top of your tree? Was it a present with a ribbon on it? Was it a thing? Was it the symbol of material things? Was it a star? Was it an angel? Do that to your life going forward. What's at the top of your life? What's, when you look up, what's the thing that shines that you're aiming for? And just so you know,
yeah,
just say it out loud, that's what I aim for at the highest.
I love that.
And
And teach
get to
your
know yourself.
children that. Teach your children that Christmas is more than gifts and what they get for Christmas, but teach them those traditions.
Christ Mass, right? The Mass around Christ, the communion around Christ is Christ in the manger. That's what that means.
Love it.
So, all right, keep that in mind. And
Bye, guys.
see you in a week.